Hi, and welcome back to class. Today we are going to begin work on World War I, and we are now in Lesson 2. We're also in our second module. So once again, if you still have not picked up your book and your workbook, you do need to go and get the new book in order to be able to complete the assignments for next week. But first, today you will know the effects of war on soldiers and other parties. You will also understand how to take notes in a way to support understanding and in organizing events within a text. You will also be able to write what's happening in 2 articles about World War I in a clear and concise manner. So let's go ahead and get started. So based on what you guys have read so far, what is one of the major events or developments that caused a country to enter the conflict of World War I and why? Again, what is one of the major events or developments that caused a country to enter the conflict of World War I and why? You may need to go back and review your notes or read the articles again. Our focusing question for today is, why did countries and individuals join World War I? And our content framing question is asking us to organize our thoughts and asking ourselves what's happening in 2 articles about World War I. Our craft question in our examine stage says, why is well-chosen evidence important? So based on the 2 articles that we read, identify the important individual events discussed in each of the informational articles. What were some of the major causes and developments affecting countries' decisions to join World War I? Meaning, after you read, what was one of the causes that made people go to World War I? After you read, what was one of the major events that made people go to World War I? What factors led up to World War I? So let's go back and look at handout 1A, which is the war to end all wars. You're going to be answering these questions based on this article. We read this one yesterday. Remember this? But not only are you going to answer the questions on that, you're also going to read the President piece. That is this one. The Peace President Goes to War. You will be looking at both of these articles to answer those questions that are here. So let's go ahead and continue. I want you guys to also look at the first sentence of paragraph 7 on handout 1B. How can you rephrase the sentence using your understanding of the word factor? Meaning, what does factor mean and how can you rephrase that sentence in paragraph 7? Now on to the rest of our lesson, guys. It's going to be a little bit different for you all to complete this lesson, but for those of you who are at home, I'm going to have these questions on a slideshow. You're going to base or a Word document. You are basically just going to create a timeline where you type out all of the dates and events that led up to World War I in order. Then I want you to look at your timeline. Based at your timeline, what is the earliest date you found in the articles? What do you notice about the placement of these dates? Were there anything that overlapped? Were there any dates that were the same or coincided together? And were there any differences? Once you've analyzed the timeline of when different parties decided to join the war, I want you to evaluate the information on your timeline and explain one crucial factor leading to one country's decision to join the conflict. Use at least 2 pieces of evidence from one or both of the informational articles in which you have read. Let's look at our craft question. We're in our examine stage. Why is well-chosen evidence important? What do you already know about what makes evidence an effective choice? You're going to be using handout 2A, choosing evidence for concision and precision. But first, you want to make sure that you write the definitions of concision and precision first. So let's have a quick look at that one. So notice here it's asking you what concision means and what precision means. You cannot complete the rest of the handout if you have not looked up these words. So now let's have a look at our craft question. In our examine stage, it says, why is well-chosen evidence important? We all know that evidence is very important because it needs to be able to back us up, whatever we believe in, whatever our claim is. Think about, what do you already know about what makes evidence an effective choice? In handout 2A, you will complete, but first you will have to define concision and precision. Our content framing question for here is organize for this lesson. What's happening in the 2 articles about World War I? You guys are going to complete an exit ticket summarizing each article in 1 to 2 sentences of what's happening in the articles. For homework, I want you guys to complete handout 2A in class and then continue your fluency work on handout 1C. So let's get into our vocabulary deep dive. Today we're going to look at some examples of isms. An ism is a distinctive theory or set of beliefs or practices. So let's think pair share. What are some different kinds of isms? Like racism. What are some other words that end in ism? Why is this world filled with so many isms? Think about it, it's based on sets of beliefs or practices. So why are there so many isms? In paragraph 7 of handout 1B, underline nationalism and patriotism. What clues do we have to the meaning of what nationalism and patriotism actually mean? Patriotism is to have a deep loyalty and love for the country where one was born or identifies as a citizen. Nationalism is a feeling that people have of being proud of their country, often with the belief that it is better than other countries. How can you compare the relationship between patriotism and nationalism? How do they compare? So now I want you guys to practice. We're going to write a letter to mom. Using this. Dear Mom, I decided to enlist in the war because. You'll write a letter to your mom, but one of them says, your son or daughter a true patriot, and the other one says, your son or daughter a true nationalist. So we've got patriotism and nationalism. Then write one reason from the perspective of a patriot. So in the patriot section, you will write what they would write to their mom due to the fact that they're a patriot. Then you would write a letter to your mother from the perspective of a nationalist. Remember that a patriot is someone who has a deep loyalty and love for the country. So the letter that you would write to your mom needs to show that you have a deep loyalty and love for your country. But if you're writing as a nationalist, you want to write for the fact that you're proud of your country and its beliefs and what it believes in. So you should have 2 different letters being where I am able to determine whether you are a nationalist or a patriot. All right, guys, that's going to be the end for this lesson. If you guys have any questions or concerns, please come to office hours. The link is inside of Schoology. All right, bye.